when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome to the morning show on Tobago Updates. This is Tuesday, the 10th day of October 2023. And it is indeed a good day to give God thanks and praise for being in the land of the living. We have a beautiful show for you today, and we thank you so much for tuning in here on Tobago Updates Television. And we are going to head on over straight into the news in 90 seconds with Biana Brebner.
Thank you, Adana. I am Biana Brebner, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 10th October 2023. The National Trade Union Center criticized the government's budgetary approach to crime, suggesting a significant minimum wage increase as a more effective solution. This proposal came from National Trade Union Center's General Secretary Michael Anisset and National Union of Government and Federated Workers President General James Lambert during a press conference. Anisset highlighted global research connecting inequality to higher crime rates, stressing the importance of fair wages, job security, and income-led growth for economic stability. He also criticized planned crime talks between the opposition and the government, asserting they wouldn't resolve Trinidad and Tobago's crime problems, and called for a more realistic government stance in wage negotiations. Energy Minister Stuart Young during the budget debate accused the UNC of causing billions in losses to TNT's energy sector while praising the PNM's successful revitalization efforts through negotiations and industry collaboration. He highlighted unfavorable agreements made by the People's Partnership Government and emphasized TNT's oil and gas reserve had matured with production increasing until 2010. However, he stated gas production peaked at 4.3 BCF per day in 2010 but declined to 3.8 BCF per day by 2015. In the oil sector, TNT's daily production jumped from 114,000 barrels in 2008 to 78,000 barrels in 2015. Young also criticized the previous government for failing to initiate sector development negotiations during their tenure. And finally, during the budget debate in the House of Representatives, Health Minister Terence Singh called for cooperation with the Public Health Service to combat TNT's high diabetes rate. He highlighted programs that screen pregnant women for diabetes to improve the health of both mothers and babies. Singh also mentioned a study covering 2019 to 2023, which revealed that 1,776 limbs and or toes were amputated in TNT during that period, with 91% of amputees having diabetes-related complications and 18% being smokers. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana. And of course, today is 10/10, and so we have birthday to celebrate today, and we're going straight into that segment as we celebrate our birthdays today. And of course, we are celebrating the lone celebrant today, Shaquille Scott. This is Shaquille Scott. We're saying happy birthday to you from all of us here at Tobago Updates Television. We do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today. And for all of you who are celebrating birthdays today and this week, we wish you a very happy birthday. We pronounce God's blessings upon your lives. And we do hope that you have an enjoyable and safe birthday. All right, as I promised, we have a lovely show lined up for you today. So I'm just going to let you know who we're going to be speaking with today, the conversations we're going to be having, and what we're going to be talking about. We're speaking firstly with Charlene Finley Stewart, and she is a therapeutic counselor in the Division of Health, Wellness, and Social Protection. We're talking about World Mental Health Day 2023. We're speaking, of course, with Mr. Alan Stewart. As you know, we are preparing for Tobago Carnival. It's in the month of October. So we're talking about the readiness. How ready is Tobago to host Carnival 2023? And we round our conversations up with Dr. Faith B. Israel. She is the secretary, as you know, in the Division of Health, Wellness, and Social Protection. And she's also the She's also representing Bell Garden, Glamorgan, and we're having a business fair in that area. She's hosting a business fair in that area. And so we're going to be talking about what's happening in and around that constituency as it relates to the business fair. Ladies and gentlemen, we're asking you to stay with us as we continue this show. And of course, as we go into Tobago in Focus, we ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
For those who have plans to pursue tertiary education or are already enrolled, there is a Department of Advanced Training that aids with grants and bursaries. This department exists within the Division of Education, Research and Technology.
We provide financial assistance to persons who decide to pursue tertiary education or who are pursuing tertiary education. We also provide persons and advisory service to persons who require that type of advice, both financial as well as career guidance. And we try to also provide persons with placement. For those persons who would have actually received funding from us, we try to place them in facilitate their placement in jobs.
To access these services, one must apply to an institution of study and the institution must be accredited. In order to be facilitated, the program being pursued must also be accredited.
The idea is that we want to see that the person, whoever the person is and whatever the person's institution is, the important thing is that the institution is accredited and the program is accredited. But much more than that, that the person is also pursuing something that would be of benefit to Tobago and in Trinidad and Tobago for that matter.
The assistance being offered by the department has a wide range. Assistance can be anywhere from tuition expenses to living expenses. It can also include meals, transportation, books, and so forth. An applicant needs to state what they require and what the expenses are that need to be covered. The application will then be vetted and it will be determined what assistance you will receive. You can connect with the department via the THA website, tha.dert.gov.tt, or through the division's head office at 299-0781.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates. I am Adana Kumbi, and as promised, we're having conversations straight ahead with Ms. Charlene Finley-Stewart. She is a therapeutic counselor in the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. We are in World Mental Health Month, and we're celebrating World Mental Health Day, rather, in 2023. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of good mental health and mental health practices and, you know, whatever Ms. Finley-Stewart is going here to share with us today. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having me here on the program. And as you mentioned, today is World Mental Health Day, 10/10 as is being talked about. And our theme for this year is mental health is a universal human right. Now, when you hear those words, you're wondering what is it speaking about? But it's really trying to encourage persons and to educate persons that mental health, everyone has a right to a healthy mind. And we need to encourage persons in terms of how they interact, how they treat persons, and how they value the mental health. Because if your mind is not prepared, your body will not be healthy.
That's right. That's right. It's very important, of course, to be stable and have a good foundation where your mental health is concerned. What type of support how do you assess your mental health? How do you know? Like, for instance, I mean, I can observe from somebody else's standpoint, but how do I know that I'm having a mental challenge or a mental issue that I would probably need support for?
Well, usually it's very tricky because the way we interact daily, we become so accustomed to that behavioral pattern. So we think it's normal. But sometimes if you have an experience where it is you feel overwhelmed today, or you feel a little down today, or you realize when you're interacting with persons say, they comment about the negative behavior that you're displaying towards them. Those are keys that there might be something a little off that you may need to focus on. Now, when we hear mental health, we usually think about psychiatric, but mental health can also be everyday interactions where you have low energy and low focus. So what you can do is just call someone, call a professional, and just ask, these are the questions that I have, and these are the feelings that I have. And can you tell me, is there something that I need to work on, or is it that I'm okay?
Right, and it's important to have a strong support team to help you through mental challenges. And as you're right, because especially initially or culturally, people think that when you talk about mental health, you're talking about the psychiatric aspect of it, when it really could just be that you're overwhelmed,
Yes.
that you have so much going on, and you just need some level of support. So what is the division doing in terms of like what do you have planned for today, or in terms of activities, whether it's in-house, whether it's, open to the public? What kind of activities you will have ongoing today?
Well, today we're having, we call it a fun day. So we get towards persons in the building where they're going to start from about 10 o'clock, where we're going to have games, activities, health assessment, mental health assessments, to help persons understand who they are as an individual and know that you don't have to feel bad about the way you feel, and that there is support there to encourage you. Now, if it is you're from the general public and you do pass in the building, you can join in the fun. So we're not going to exclude you from it, because mental health wellness is for everyone.
That's right. And what is really striking about this is that in the workplace, especially where it's very demanding, where you have to meet deadlines, where you have tasks to complete at a certain point in time, and it seems as if it's just so overwhelming. So I like the fact that there's an opportunity for you to relax.
Yes.
Where you can, connect with your colleagues at work, and you don't have to worry about the burden of having to meet a deadline today,
Yes,
or to submit a task or an assignment. And that is one of the things that we really need to pay attention to. And if you'd ask me, something you need to pay attention to in terms of giving people that time to just take a breather. And so tell me why exactly that is so important, that we take our time, especially in the workplace.
Well, we know as individuals we work hard and we go non-stop. And what we're trying to encourage and educate persons is that it's always good to take a break. Take time out. And what we're trying to educate and enforce in the building, because we're trying to do a lot more activities going forward, is encouraging staff that you don't have to work 24/7. You need to take time for your mental health. As we know, we will go to the doctor to check up, to make sure that everything is okay to our body, but we fail to do checkup on our mental health and our wellness. And as I mentioned before, if your mind is not prepared, your body will fail. And because a lot of times we have illnesses and we go to the doctors and they do checks and we realize it's not your body, it's actually your mind that is not feeling well.
And I was actually going to touch on that again, because of course it does really affect your body. Sometimes when let's say you're exhausted, you're mentally exhausted, yes, right? Your body feels it as well. You feel exhausted, you start to get dark circles under your eyes and stuff like that. So those are some of the signs that you would see when your body is responding to your mental state. What are some of the other signs you can look for in your physical body that connect with your mental state?
You can have an eating, I wouldn't really say disorder, but you might be
Challenge.
changing your eating patterns. Sleeplessness. You might be having problems sleeping. You're getting up and you're wondering, you feel so anxious about things. Those are issues. Then, of course, you might have the way you might get up. You might feel a little lazy, but you might be thinking, why do I feel so lazy? And you beat yourself up. It just might be that you're low today. Even the way how you interact with persons, as I mentioned before. So these are different things that you need to focus on, because you would know yourself. Sometimes we're in denial because we don't want to believe that something is wrong. But as I said, there's nothing wrong with doing a wellness check. Just making sure that everything is okay with you.
That's right. And as you said, there is a taboo, there's a stigma connected to mental health. And it goes back to you talking about the psychiatric part of it, because people think mental health means, for lack of a better term, or a cultural term, that you're crazy or you're mad. But that is not what it means, right? It just means you need to pay attention to your mental state.
But as you mentioned, that I want to bring to attention that we don't like to use the word crazy. Persons have different levels of mental health and challenges. And we like to encourage persons that word has a stigma attached to it. And when we use it to persons, even if they're not on the extreme or borderline, it kind of makes them feel as if they have a deficiency. It creates triggers, and then they don't look forward to going for help. And one of the things we try to encourage, because a lot of challenges, especially in Tobago, men don't see the need to check up on their mental health. And we're trying to encourage more of that, letting them know that there's nothing wrong with it. Because you are the leaders. You are the ones who have to take care of your families. You have to work. And if that your mind is not prepared, you're going to affect the home. And the good thing about it, we do have some more men coming in to get some checks. They said they feel overwhelmed, things are not working out well. And they want to know what's wrong with them. And we applaud them and we encourage others to come forward, because we want a healthier Tobago. We want persons to understand that the division is here. There are even private practice on the island for for persons who don't want to come into the office, but you can get that help that is required. And if not, you can even do it online.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you said that men are actually coming in now because there's a stigma. You appear weak as if when you go for help,
Yes.
when you go for that type of support, people call you out as being weak, but it isn't. It actually takes a lot of strength.
Yes, it does.
To overcome that stigma and to take that step to get your help. Now, you mentioned that they can come into the division. What types of support, or how does one access the services that you will provide in terms of support for mental health?
Well, you can come into the division. We're open Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 4 p.m. You can come into our office at Glenwood, the new fancy building, 5-story building inside of Glenwood. You will see the big sign on the building. So once you come into there, you can come in, come to the top floor, interact, and come to the Community Mediation Center office and tell them, you would like to make an appointment to see a therapeutic counselor, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, so you could basically just walk in. Or is there
well, you walk in to make an appointment.
Yes. But is there like a contact number? Or is there another process? Can they find you on any social media platform? What are the other ways in which to contact?
Well, they can contact the hotline, which is 683-8341. They can call that number, and once they get in touch with the number, they can leave a message or make a phone call.
And the thing about confidentiality also, because Tobago is a very small space, and people are very private, especially when it comes to health issues. What is the confidentiality rate like? What is it? Am I sure that when I come in there, my business remains confident?
Well, we try our best to do so. We can't guarantee what other persons do, but we as officers, we try our best to hold to the ethical standards.
Right.
So we make sure that when our clients come in, we make them comfortable and we interact with them in a level that ensures that whatever you tell us is secure. Typically what we do, and I've told my clients that, is when you enter the building, you have access to come to the top floor. And once you talk to the security and give the information, which is the only persons who will know some idea of what it is you want. So you don't have to tell everyone in the building, I'm coming to seek mental
support.
Right? Mental support.
Right, and that is very good. And I made that point because I want persons to understand that your mental health is very important.
Yes.
And we're not supposed to shy away. Let us not shy away from seeking assistance when we are overwhelmed, when we feel as if something is wrong. It might not be mental, it could be whatever it is, but at least access all the avenues, all the support that you can get to help you to assess what the situation might be and to bring some level of resolve. And I know you mentioned that men are coming in, and I'm happy about that. But in terms of your actual clients, what is the flow like? Are people really seriously accessing the service? Are they getting results and stuff like that?
Well, it made me smile to that, because the irony of that is that we need a mental health day. because we do have an influx of persons coming in for assistance, and I must say we are busy.
Right.
So for us, today is an exciting day as well. So we get a day to distress as well and have some fun. But we do make ourselves available to our clients. We try our best, and we're few, but we're mighty. And we try to encourage persons to know that it's not an immediate, it's not you're going to walk in and you're going to automatically get assistance today because of the workload. Right. But you will get assistance. So don't fear that you come in and think that we're not going to help you. Once it is that you need your required help, we would be available to help you. And sometimes we go over and beyond.
I'm sure.
And so because for us, it's not just about the money, it's about ensuring it's a better Tobago, because we want to break the stigma of what mental health, what people view mental health, and we want persons to understand that we are a support team and everyone needs mental support. So that's what the encouragement we're trying to do with the division. We're trying to change the dynamics, and we're hoping that persons understand it's not the neighbor on the block telebusiness, because that's not what we're about. We are professionals. We try to ensure that our clients receive the best service possible. And I do hope that my clients will listen. I hope I really have done you justice. And those who are coming forward know that we have team members who are willing to assist you, because we do children as well. And we do have a male counsel on board for those men who may not want to speak to a female. So we do have a male counsel on board as well.
That's good. That's good for the balance. And you were going on and you were talking about the importance of the mental health and that you wouldn't restrict somebody. And I just want to go back to the theme this year, which says mental health is a universal human right. Once you're a human being, mental health is your universal human right. Right? You have a right to a stable mental capacity and mental health. So the support that is being provided by the division is really, really, really important. And if you feel as if you need the help, please access the help that is available to you. Today they're celebrating Fun Day in the office.
Yes.
They're going to be playing games. Tell us some of the activities that you'll be doing in the office today.
Well, we'll be doing some mind games. We'll be doing puzzles. We'll be doing, I forgot the name of the game. It's almost like the one where you go on the ground and move your hands and twisters.
Twister, right?
Yes. We have a team that will be playing Uno. We have the enthusiasts who will be playing some all fours, you know. But so it's different types of games. Ludo, Scrabble. Yes, we really...
Right, so it's going to be a whole interactive type thing at the division today. So, I mean, if I wanted to come into the division today, I would want to come and peep to see what you're all doing because it sounds like a lot of fun. And as I said earlier, it is something that you look forward to. You look forward to days like today, days where you would relax. If you look at the different seasons, when divisions have relaxed days, it's the day you have the most participation. And from my observation, I noticed that after you've had these events, the productivity rate increases.
Yes, it does, because I think the break in the momentum kind of builds back renewed energy. So we're hoping that tomorrow people be more energized to work, not to kill them, but more energized to work. And, you know, so Division of Health can be recognized as a good division. We want to keep that standard.
Yes, and I really, really appreciate all the support. So tell us again, you can just walk in, let the security know you're coming to access
the services. You can tell me coming to the Community Mediation Center.
Community Mediation Center.
Yes, and once you come up there, we will take it from there.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to say in closing about importance of a healthy, a good mental health state and the theme and your support system like that?
Well, I want to encourage persons to support each other. Don't discredit your family members' feelings. Don't discredit your friends' feelings. And encourage them that, you know, you can talk to them, you can encourage them, you can be a support to them, you can be a good friend, and letting them know that I'm there for you. Of course, there are cases where it might be a little bit more than is required of the person you're speaking to, and that's where the professionals come in. So have no fear, help is always there.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Charlene Finley-Stewart. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program today and talking about World Mental Health Day 2023, October 10/10, and all the activities that are taking place there at the division and the importance of having a sound mental health. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a break before we continue conversations. But of course, this is your invitation to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
We are going on a new journey. Tobago now has its very own carnival.
She like loud music and
Platinum touch.
yeah.
25 years of real good dashing food, delicacies, and enjoyment. Well, it come around again as we celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival. This year promises to entice your taste buds again on Sunday, October 15th at Bloody Bay from as early as 10 a.m. All are invited to the celebration filled with craft, games, but most importantly, blue food. This is a brunch-style celebration and will also see the likes of Super Blue, Nyla Blackman, Pretty, Gerard Balfour, Joe Archer, Keyshawn Jack, and Junior Calypso star, The Shay Saul, and more on Sunday, October 15th, 2023. Come celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates, and we continue our conversations this morning. We know we are in the month of October and we are preparing for Tobago Carnival, and we have to talk about preparedness and being ready for the road. And we're speaking with Mr. Alan Stewart. He is the director of TEMA, as we know, and we're going to be talking about some of the areas that we need to consider to be ready for Carnival 2023. Good morning, Mr. Stewart, and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning all of Tobago and the wider world who is, I know is tuned in.
Yes, yes.
Certainly.
So we're talking Carnival. Carnival is in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's back again.
Yes,
and,
it's back again.
Yeah. The October Carnival is becoming a feature or a staple feature in the Trinidad and Tobago calendar. And, since 2005, we have been seeking to provide a level of safety, security. This allow itself for us to be setting up what is called a joint command operations. So the 28th and the 29th, you can see TEMA will make itself visible along with its partners. I was very pleased when I learned that they would have established ACP Collis Hazel as the goal commander for this year's festivity in Tobago. I know he did quite a fantastic job in Port of Spain for the last National Carnival, and bring that wealth to this event. We are already seeing progress, and I'm here to reassure the Tobago public that we can expect safety and security to be by no means on the downside. Certainly, we have improved our standings, and we will bring the necessary infrastructure and all of its appurtenances that are necessary for allowing the event to work smoothly. And our partners consist of a number of different players, which you are quite aware of. I spoke about the TTPS by mentioning the ACP, and also we have health, the TRHA, and different arms of the Division of Health. One of the major features I observed that is they are paying very close attention to is public health in terms of food preparation and things like that. And we're expecting that, all this information is necessary for the public to be aware of so that they can ready themselves. Carnival for us in Tobago means quite a lot. It means we're speaking about the economy, we are speaking about tourism, we are speaking about our well-being, showcasing how we live. And this year Carnival, we are looking forward to those improved packages, that will come along with the festivity. From our end, the revelers have their thing to do, the mass players, the musicians, and they have their things to do, but it has to operate in a space of safety. And therefore, based on the meetings that we have been having, led by the goal commander, we observe that it will make our job at TEMA very, very easy, an easier one this year, in terms of the level of collaboration, the level of coordination, and things like that.
Right, so what are some of the areas we have to pay attention to in terms of providing that measure of safety, especially as you have to join forces with all the other stakeholders who are responsible for hosting this carnival?
Yeah, well, there are quite a number of risk factors associated with these events. One, it poses a threat to, there's a possibility, even though it's somewhat low, but if it happens, it can be very devastating. Mass casualty. You have a large amount of people assembling in an area, and therefore you have music trucks. So the requirement is that these trucks go through the necessary approvals to make sure that they are safe to be on the road. They adhere to certain conditions. So these are some of the areas of safety that they are concerned about. And then I mentioned the need for public health. The public health educators are out there, and persons who are interested in vending, they have very stringent measures, and not just these measures, but also advisories as to how one should prepare food for consumption in such a large scale. There will be activities leading up to those 2 days that I mentioned. People will be having fetes, and therefore we ask, it's an opportunity for extremism in terms of crime and people who want to be adverse to what is good living. There are people that seize and take these opportunities to do heinous crimes and things like that. And we are hoping that based on what the education that is going out there, that persons will take the necessary precautions, especially if you are to leave your homes and things like that. You ensure your cars, in the height of the festivities sometimes, and the amount of liquid that you have within you, you can become very, very careless. And therefore we ask people to, while they are having fun, to be very careful and be very cautious as to how you deal with the safety of your property, not just your homes, but also your cars, your jewelry, things like that. So these are areas of concern. And then we are operating in a time when, because of the El Nino effect, where the earth is in alignment with the sun and things like that, you are having extreme heat conditions. And therefore, it is important that we remain hydrated as much as possible during these festivities, that we ensure that we take in the right type of liquids. Oh my goodness. I remember, as I said that, the man said that you have enough blood in his you don't have enough blood in his alcohol. So when it's supposed to work the reverse way, a lot of consumption of that type of liquor sometimes could harm one's judgment, and one has to guard against that. And then there's the other side of persons who may try to be, or allow yourself to be, promiscuous in terms of what you may do. You have people who will, how you carry yourself is very important. It's a period of time where people, give themselves to
Revelry.
And therefore that have its own challenges and costs attached to it. How you behave, especially being under the influence, as a songwriter will say. So these are some of the cautions that we wish to advise people, and ensuring that they are ready for the festival. Another thing is just basic fitness. It's important that your legs are able to carry you, that you...
And your lungs,
And
especially
your
for that
lungs
root.
is able to... Yes. The root is it's a very interesting route. You have enough room to ramage, as people will say. But at the same time, you have to know your limits, know exactly what you are doing, and make sure that, during this period, you're doing the necessary exercises and your muscles are well toned to what you want to do. Don't overdo it. Don't try to impress anyone. Sometimes we men try to do things that we haven't done for the whole year, but you want to go down to the ground and all
Yes.
that kind of stuff. Don't want to injure yourself in this. But switching gears a little bit, I want to lend some thought to what we'll be doing.
I was just about to ask,
Yeah.
yes, because you can advise them, you can advise your revelers, you can advise your
And things happen.
stakeholders, but what are we doing? What are, what
Things
is
hit the
the
fan.
things that are in place?
Yeah. Well, it's like talking about fire prevention. A house will get burned down, and so people may get injured, and we anticipate that. So we will be setting up at two major locations. One, there will be a venue operations center that will be set up. I probably should not, I don't want to disclose the location, but a venue operations center will be set up for the coordination at a certain level where strategies and will be in effect to allow for the safety of our persons who are on the road. And as I said, the necessary appurtenances will go along with that to ensure that that level of surveillance takes place. And there is also the risk, as I mentioned, of injuries as a result of what one may get involved in by accidents may occur, MVAs or motor vehicle accidents, a lot of may happen. But the venue operations center will allow for that big picture while we will deploy the mobile command unit and also an advanced medical post. One will be in the streets of Scarborough and the other will be at a location that will allow for that type of interaction. There is also will be medical posts strategically around the route to allow for if there is any injuries or any of the such, we will be able to stabilize, stabilize, and go to a definitive place of care where care can take place. The objective is not to overwhelm the hospital. I know the medical committee will be meeting today to discuss the rudiments, the nuts and bolts issues as it relates to it, as to what are some of the features that they will bring into the picture to allow that to happen, whether or not health centers in key areas will be open or whether or not they will confine. It all has to do with the resources available. So the medical committee will be meeting sometime later on today, and also the members of the Tobago Disaster Management Committee will have their pre-Carnival emergency meeting to discuss all of the nitty-gritties as it relates to crowd control, road control, the looking at infrastructure, things like that. I know last Friday, a walkabout took place in Scarborough led by the Goal Commander, and that allowed us to look at the infrastructure. Work begun yesterday by the Division of Infrastructure. They started their works and the repairs of the pavement, making sure that there is no manhole that will become no obstacle that will become a problem. Also, the utilities paying attention to overhead lines to ensure that bands pay attention to the regulation. So the licensing authority will be dealing with those matters. And so you will ensure that safety will be in effect from all points. Strong communications will be in effect. Members, we are engaging for communication, REACT, the Radio Emergency Associated Communications team, to ensure that the bands move in a particular order. I know there's time constraint to how much time they can spend on the highway, because as you may know, a portion of the highway will be utilized. The limitation of roads that we have in Tobago lends itself to that type of activity, and therefore it needs to be managed in a particular manner, and constraint needs to be done where the use of the highway is concerned for a short periods. So we expect things to go in a particular way.
The interesting thing I hear you talking about potholes and pavement. So that is good, ensuring that those things are level and safe for the revelers and the pedestrians and all the persons who are going to be a part of the thing. Also, low-hanging wires have been seen. Some low-hanging wires. So I heard you mention that, so that is under consideration as well. What I want to ask, though, is I know this is our second Tobago Carnival, and of course, SEMA would have been part of the first one. So what are the assessments that you made from the first one that you're bringing into this, your strategy for this year? What are the improvements that you're making, or the things that you have to add on to ensure safer on the road for Carnival 2023?
One of the things last year Carnival lack was closed circuit television was not utilized sufficiently, and we intend to allow for that to happen. We intend to revert back to the mobile command unit, in the sense that we recognize that that immediate care and that depth of care where medical is concerned was not where it ought to be in terms of the infrastructure. So one of the things you want to do, you want to ensure that the medical teams are operating in a space that they feel comfortable, that they can have the necessary tools that at their disposal, so that concern as to whether or not they can deal with the type of threats or the type of injuries, the type of cases that may confront them. The advanced medical posts allow for that. That will be a feature that will be in the operations this year. And one of the things that we did not do last year quite effectively was the collaboration with our players. It was all new, and when I say new, a new administration and things like that. So the level of collaboration that is taking place this year, as I mentioned, the goal commander, it was very instructive that he led the entire team out in the streets, and we were able to look at the infrastructure, look at the space, walk the entire route to examine what are some of the concerns. We do it at a time where nightfall met us, so we could see what is the night effects, where need additional lighting. All of these factors play a role. Over the years, one of the things that made the Carnival so safe in Tobago, and that is one of the selling points of the Tobago Mass, is that you are creating a safe space, is the level of intervention that one can take by simply monitoring people's behavior. You could know when a fight just don't start out of the blue. Sometimes you think it starts out of the blues, but it starts with a little somebody mash, somebody toe, somebody push off, somebody spill a drink, somebody whine on something that they wasn't supposed to whine on. Things like that happen.
That's
these
right,
are the
that's
things
true.
that start the
Culturally.
things. So if you are monitoring and you're observing what is, before it escalates, you can intervene, and the necessary armed forces will be available once more to provide that level of intervention, so that we can mitigate against anything escalating out of control. So we will not have a disaster on our hands, even though there will be emergencies.
Right. Well, we thank you so much for bringing us up to date as to what is happening for our Carnival. We feel safe. I feel safe. I will not be reveling, but I feel as if we will have a safe Carnival for this year, considering all the measures that are put in place, the collaboration with the different stakeholders and all the persons responsible for providing that measure of safety. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are also responsible for yourself. Remember, yes, we are reveling, not we, but yes, you will be reveling, consuming alcoholic beverages and stuff like that, but you need to be responsible for yourself. You need to pay attention to the guidelines that have been set out for you, and you also need to remember that last year Carnival, it was cooler than it is this year. This year is very hot, so remember to remain hydrated. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Mr. Alan Stewart, and he is the Director of Tobago Emergency Management Agency, bringing us up to date as to how safe and ready Tobago is for Carnival 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break before we continue our conversations, and we're asking you, of course, to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Tobago Carnival, Caribbean Vibes presents Tequila Sunset. Tequila Sunset, October 27th. Scarborough Esplanade from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's a cooler fete like no other. Bring your squad and we'll take care of the vibe with your top TNT and New York DJs, surprise guest artists. Tequila Sunset will be an epic event you will never forget. Early bird tickets are 199 TT or 30 US. Get your tickets online on islandetickets.com or frontlineticketing.com. For more info, call 475-6218 or 754-7344. And New York, 917-561-9742. All drinks must be in plastic bottles and no ice or chaser allowed. Tequila Sunset, October 27th, Scarborough Esplanade.
rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. And on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Take your time and ride on the bike. Take your time and ride on the bike. Take your time and ride on the bike and ride on the bike and ride on the bike. She's loving the ambience of my. Somebody call the ambulance for this chick. I just glong, I don't really quick. That's why she's loving me. Better when you're done, you might walk with a stick. Meanwhile, you bend down, let me see you boom flick. Let me beat it up just like. I know you're loving me. When coming to I like the plenty. Sit on my riding like a Bentley. Full of that need to empty. Take your time and ride on the bike. Take your time and ride on the bike and ride on the bike and ride on the bike. Ride on the bike, ride on the bike, ride on the bike, ride on the bike, ride on the 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 bike.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Combi, and I just want to say good morning to some of our viewers who are online watching with us this morning. Mr. Ashton Bennett, Zia Hackett, Lisa James, Pearl Murray Beard, good morning, Joshua Stewart, good morning to you. And if you're trying to make it to work for 8 a.m., it is now 7:41 a.m., so you need to get there on time, be safe on the nation's road. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rejoining us, and we are having conversations with Dr. Faith B. Israel. She is the Secretary in the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, and also the area representative for Bellegarde and Glamorgan. This morning, we're talking about a business fair happening there on Thursday. So we're going to go straight into the conversation and find out all that we need to find out about this fair. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning and thanks for having me this morning. Yes. It's a wonderful day today, isn't it?
Yes, and you're so bright and beautiful this morning.
Well, you know, it's World Mental Health Day, so I'm having a really good mental health day today.
I love it. I love to hear about it. I love it. So we're talking about business fair in the Bellegarde and Glamorgan electoral district. And what I want to emphasize is the importance of events like this, right, in terms of supporting your constituents and giving them that level of, you know, access to these types of things.
Certainly. So when we got into the executive role, when I became the area rep for Bellegarde and Glamorgan, one of the things we recognized was that a lot of the people who are coming to us, they want the opportunity to have a business. They want the opportunity to do something for themselves. So, but we also recognize that they did not have a lot of the technical skills that are required. You know, we went into the whole procurement thing and being registered and all of that. So this is really just part, probably 3 or 4 of a series of things that we've been doing in the electoral district. We started with just showing people how to do their registration. We had somebody from the banking sector come and talk about how to do your business grant, your business accounts and all of that. We had people come and talk about how to do procurement and all of that. But this time, what we are doing is really pulling all of these things together. So we will have people there who can help you prepare your proposals, people there from the financial sector, people there from like BDU, Business Development Unit, and REACH, which are grants, opportunities, and individuals there who could teach you protocol and who could teach you how to, you know, all of the different things that you need to do to ensure that your business is successful. You have an opportunity to come in on Thursday and to interact with those individuals individually, one-on-one, so to speak, so that you could get the kind of support that you are needed to have a successful business.
And this is really good to empower. This is empowerment for the people. And you're saying this is a part 3 or so in this series. And I think this is very, very commendable, because an empowered community is an empowered society. So providing this measure and all of these stakeholders coming into support, right? This is happening on Thursday.
Yes, it is Thursday afternoon at the Bell Garden Multipurpose Center, and it is from 1 p.m. all the way up to 5:30 p.m. So you just need to drop in. There is no fee, there is no cost attached to it. You just need to drop in and say, hey, you know, I want to learn about this, that, or the other, and you have the opportunity to drop in there. Now, in addition to the stakeholders who can provide support to you, we've also welcomed some of the businesses from the communities. Some of them have even been businesses that have been a part of the process previously. So we have invited them to come on and showcase to the people what they have been provided, what they can provide in the community as a business. So this is an opportunity for those businesses to also showcase what they have.
Yeah, and also it gives like a testimony, so that it encourages the upcoming business owners, persons who are interested in having businesses, to show that you can come from Bell Garden, you can come from anywhere, and you can have the business once you are empowered. I'm assuming you must be from that electoral district.
Actually, no.
Okay.
And that is why I have chosen to get out of my bed, to get so nicely rosy dressed to be in the studio this morning. Because this is open to anybody who can walk to Bell Garden, who can drive to Bell Garden, who can bicycle to Bell Garden, who can swim to Bell Garden. This is available to anybody who has the time to make their way up to Bell Garden on Thursday afternoon. So yes, it is the electoral district that is hosting it, but we have always made it open to others. And as a matter of fact, when we look back at the registration information from individuals who attended previous sessions, there were individuals from town, individuals all the way from like Crown Point, because they saw it and they thought, let me make use of this opportunity.
Not selfish at all, not selfish at all. I love it. You know, come one, come all, and participate in this event. And there is a process for registration, because I heard you mention when you look at the last set of registrations.
So what we've been doing, we have done it several ways. You can call the office numbers. If they could put back up the slide. Call the office numbers. You can email assemblyman.drfate@gmail.com. So the office number is 305-1010. No, I do not know my own office number offhand.
as we all do.
305-1010. You can call them if you have any questions. They're sitting there ready to answer the phone. assemblyman.drfate@gmail.com. Or you can go on tinyurl.com-bgg/business. And that just allows us to capture a little bit of information. You name the kind of business you have and that kind of thing, so that we have that information about you. All of this is on my social media, so on my Facebook page. If you are on my WhatsApp channels or WhatsApp groups or broadcast lists, then you can you will get the information there. But even if you have not contacted any of these three, so even if you have not called or emailed or clicked, and you are in Bell Garden or you want to come, still please come and be a part of this. We've also invited some of the schools from the area, some of the 5th or 6th form students, because these are students who coming out of school just now. We want to encourage them to have a business mind.
Yes.
We are really encouraging them, no matter what your skill is, you need to ensure that that what you love to do, you are able to make money from it. So if you know that you probably don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer, but you're a really great plumber or a really great mechanic or whatever it is, but you that is the direction you are heading, but you want to learn about how to market your plumbing business, you please also come. So that's why we opened it up to the secondary schools as well in the area for the fifth and sixth formers, depending on what was available, to come out and also be a part of this session.
And in terms of follow-up, because I know all these stakeholders are going to be there to help them with the proposal writing, financial literacy, and some of the other areas that you're going to be touching, procurement and marketing. In terms of follow-up, how are they going to access these services for follow-up?
So one of the things we've actually encouraged the individuals who will be there, the groups who will be there, it is an opportunity for them to also market themselves. So for example, we have individuals who actually do proposal writing as their business, and they are coming to this. Really, they're doing it free for me, but it's also an opportunity for them to market themselves. So we are encouraging those who come to reach out to, for example, Carissa in the writing lab, or reach out to any of the others who are really providing this human service to the community free of charge. But you can also reach out to them after the fact. And I actually do know several people who have been to get registered 1 and 2 before, who have actually reached out to the agencies that were there. So this is just another leg. This is the first time we are bringing in the funding agencies, the Tobago House of Assembly funding agencies, because we recognize that in many instances, you have the great idea, you know what you want to do, but you need the little help. You need that little investment, that push into it. So that is why we've invited the REACH program, and the REACH coincidentally is under the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. And with the REACH program, we provide a small seed grant. It is now you can get up to $15,000 to do whatever it is needed. So if you need, you have a cooking business and you need a fridge and a stove, we are able to purchase that for you, to give you that hand up. And that actually came from the idea of our social support clients coming in, and we're saying, okay, if you come in for a food card, or you're coming for rent, or you're coming for whatever, let's think through how we can no longer have you as a social support client, but we can now have you as a business client. So we're giving that kind of push. And of course, the business development unit out of the Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy is the entity that gives larger grants. So we are also bringing them to the table, because, in some of the businesses, the $15,000 ain't doing nothing for you. You need probably a 50 grand or 100 grand to do what you need to do. We can't do that for you at REACH. So we have opened up to BDU for them to also come and provide that kind of information to you. So if for nothing else, if you've just always wanted to know what is the process to get one of these grants from the Tobago House of Assembly, or even to get further up, possibly a loan, because the venture capital, we are actually now in the process of kind of merging BDU and venture capital and so forth to create a bigger entity that will be leading towards the Tobago Development Bank. So if you are interested in learning, even as that process is going along, you can come and have the conversation with us.
So you see, this is like a seed.
It is.
This is like a seed that is being planted, because in many branches I'm hearing coming from this business fair, you're having grants, you're talking about venture capital, you're talking about all different types of access to financing, to proposal writing, to marketing. So many different arms of your business is being affected, and it can grow from this one seed that you are planting. And I must commend you for this. And the fact also, not only commending you for the business fair, but the fact that it's a reach that anybody from Tobago, as you said, once you could get to Glamorgan.
Well, to Belgarden.
To Belgarden,
once you can get to Belgarden.
Come one, come all. And it is very interesting. And I want to encourage our listening audience this morning. If you have a business, if you're interested in a business, if you want to start a business, if you just hear somebody talking about a business, you have the time, you have the access, let me go up the road now and let's see how we can get this done, because I really think that we can benefit from it.
Certainly. And one of the things we recognize coming in is that I have a lot of people who come to my my office, for example, who are saying to me they want a job. They want an opportunity to make money. And one of the things we're encouraging them, so you are one of those people who have the sanitation jobs, for example, or in CPEP or one of those jobs where you are not required to be there all day. This is an opportunity for you to come in and see, well, okay, when I am done with my early morning job, I have the rest of the day. Thursday, when you say the rest of the day, on Thursday, make your way to Belgan, because the rest of the day could actually be an opportunity for you to now venture into whatever the business may be that you were probably just thinking about. You know, you are sitting there and somehow all of the neighborhood children does end up by you to get their hair plaits. Somehow, and you have to figure out, okay, well, it seems like I could plait hair good. Let me figure out how to get into a hairdressing business. So this is an opportunity for you to come and ask the questions. What do you have to do to register? What do you have to do to become on the procurement list so that you are able to provide a service that even us in the Tobago House of Assembly can purchase from you? You are a boss cook. Everybody buy you Sunday. You could probably start providing meals for some of these events that we have in the Tobago House of Assembly, but you have to be registered, you have to have your bank account, you have to have, you know, all of these things need to be in place. This is an opportunity for you to come and learn about all of that so that after you finish with your early morning work, you can actually make money to what we are hoping, honestly, is that you could make money. So after a couple of years, they could actually give up that, allow somebody else to go into that space because you are so versed, your business is now so successful. You don't need that anymore in the morning. And that is what we are hoping we could push, because what we need is a thriving private sector. And that is all part of what we are trying to engender in this. There are really too many people employed with the Tobago House of Assembly. So we are providing all of the opportunities to allow a private sector to grow and to come up and to develop out of these communities so that they can take care of themselves.
And I think that is an excellent, excellent approach, because I mean, as you talk about we just call it early morning work.
Yes.
As you talk about that, it really is, again, managing your time, because you can't be complaining about not having enough. And then here's an opportunity, a golden opportunity for you to embrace and empower yourself and to be able to meet basic needs and, you know, some of your wants.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to be looking at your neighbor thing and studying, well, how to get this. This is an opportunity as to how to get the thing that my neighbor has, you know?
Exactly. So Thursday afternoon, as long as you are on the island of Tobago. I say, you know, I lived in the United States for 10 years. I used to drive from Pittsburgh to New York. It used to take me 6 hours to drive from Pittsburgh to New York. 6 hours, people. It had nowhere in Tobago that you're driving and it taking you 6 hours to get from one point to the other. It takes half an hour from Scarborough to Belgarden. How I know? I just time it. That is how I know I could have been here.
And it's not like you're a speed to
well, you know, I just time it. Let's put it that way. I just time it. That is how I know I could have leave home 7 o'clock and be
get
here
on time
for 7:40.
That
is how I knew that. So you could come out, even if you're in Crown Point, it's 30 minutes from town to Crown Point. Again, I just time it. So even if you are living in one of these, you know, you're not from the district or you're not from East, it does not take a long time to get up to Belgarden, and this is a golden opportunity. On Thursday afternoon from 1 p.m., we are welcoming everybody, as long as you want to know about business. Now, the thing about it, come with your questions, because we started these at one point, and then we recognized that people were asking questions about one thing, so we had another one, and we realized people asking questions about something else, so we have another one. Come with your questions, because this might actually, your question might actually be the impetus for the next event that we have. So come with your questions. Even if we can't answer it on Thursday, we would figure out the answer and get back to you, or maybe 2-3 months from now, you will see us rolling out another one that answers that specific question. So come one, come all.
That's That's right. And of course, these aspects are going to be happening simultaneously because you have different.
Yes, what we will have is kind of like a boot system.
Right.
So we have different tables within the community
Right.
center. So if you know that you want to talk to the rich people, you can go over, chat with them. If you want to know you want to talk to the proposal writing people, you can go over to them, and we have them all available, simultaneously for everyone to tap into whichever one you want to go to.
I really, really like it. I really love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it. It's Thursday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 5. That's this Thursday, 12th October, from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the Bell Garden Multipurpose Center. Once you're in Tobago and you could make it up there, I would advise you to make it up there. This is free of charge. You don't have to pay. Register if you can, and if you can't, still make it. The contact numbers are on screen. It's 305-1010, or you email at assemblyman.drfaith@gmail.com, or you go on tinyurl.com/BGG business for registration. Again, if you cannot register, it does not mean that you are omitted. You can still make it. The doors are open from 1 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And we're talking about financing, proposal writing, procurement, and marketing, all for your business. This is to empower you. So I am encouraging you to participate in this event and to get all the information that you can possibly get to empower yourself. Is there anything you want to say in closing?
I just want to say this is a golden opportunity, and that individuals need to see, sometimes they say when God can come with a son of man, this might be what happened in Thursday, might be the man to come to give you that push that you have been looking for. So don't let this opportunity pass you by.
That's right. Thank you so much, Dr. Faith. It was a pleasure speaking with you this morning in all your bright brilliance, as you celebrate Mental Health Day. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Dr. Faith B. Israel about that business fair that is taking place this Thursday. So if you can make it, please, I encourage you to make it. We have had a wonderful time with you guys this morning here on Good Morning Tobago, on the morning show rather, and we are happy that you've stayed with us even until now. We thank you so much for those of you who are making it to work. There's still time, 7:59 a.m. So if you're getting there for 8 and you're not there yet, you might be late, but don't be speeding on the nation's road. Be safe, have a great day, remain blessed, and we are going to go over into Tobago Notes. But before we go, we encourage you to share the live, share the live, share the live. And after Tobago Notes, we go over to JMT with Candice Jackson.
The TRH's physiotherapy department treats over 70% of arthritis cases on any given day. With such a high number of clients having to deal with inflammation of one or more joints, it was quite apt to focus on this condition as part of this year's Physiotherapy Awareness Month.
We deal with prevention because through physical activity really can help with preventing arthritis from developing into something that you don't want it to be. And also we are a group body that also deals with you after if you have a joint replacement because of arthritis. We also rehabilitate you after. The other persons only know about osteoarthritis, which is the degeneration of the joint, but there are so many different aspects to arthritis, and the treatment may be slightly different. So it's important for you to be well diagnosed, and so that treatment can be appropriate.
In my own knowledge, I say, well, if I have a pain in my knee and I sit down, the pain could get worse. And in normal life, I realize the more I move and exercise, the pain is less or actually went away. And coming here, and I heard the experts say the same thing. Keep moving, keep exercising, and that was comfort for me. But I think it's important that people could come and get first-hand and expert information concerning their arthritis so that they could be able to function as normal as possible.
It was very informative, especially with the type of food you eat. I'm glad that I came.
The Arthritis and Me Symposium took place at the Scarborough Library. It included health checks, consultations, and the exhibition of various medical equipment and treatment options.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
We in Tobago for Carnival with the award-winning band Fog Angels, Juve and Mass.
You don't know it's your boy Young Brother representing for Fog Angels, Big Bad, Juve and Mass Band.
2 days of excitement, 2 days of jam on the road with Fog Angels, Juve and Mass Band.
Push back, baby. Push back on Fog Angels, baby.
We're Tobago's premium, all-inclusive Juve and Mass Band that consist of costume, free drinks, free food, goodie bags, makeup artist, t-shirt cut designer, pre-party, after-party on the beach, live DJs, biggest artists, 40-foot music trucks, tight security, VIP service on the road, and a decade of experience.
Fog Angels now. Take bamboo, gal. Fog Angels, Juve band. Take bamboo, gal. Ha! Fog Angels, Mass Band.
For your premium all-inclusive packages, check Facebook, Instagram, or visit www.fogangels.com or call 492-9454 or 788-5481. Juve and Mass in Paradise. Play safe, play sexy, play Fog Angels.
Fog Angels make you feel it, feel it.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candace Jackson. Let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. The National Trade Union Center criticized the government's budgetary approach to crime, suggesting a significant minimum wage increase as a more effective solution. This proposal came from the National Trade Union Center General Secretary Michael Anisette and National Union of Government and Federated Workers President General James Lambert during a press conference. Anisette highlighted global research connecting inequality to higher crime rates, stressing the importance of fair wages, job security, and income-led growth for economic stability. He also criticized planned crime talks between the government, within opposition and the government, asserting they won't resolve Trinidad and Tobago's crime problem, and called for a more realistic government stance in wage negotiations. Energy Minister Stuart Young, during the budget debate, accused the UNC of causing billions in losses to TNT's energy sector, while praising the PNM's successful revitalization efforts through negotiations and industry collaboration. He highlighted unfavorable agreements made by the People's Partnership government and emphasized that TNT's oil and gas reserves had matured, with production increasing until 2010. However, he stated gas production peaked at 4.3 BCF per day in 2010, but declined to 3.8 BCF per day by 2015. The oil sector, TNT's daily production dropped from 114,000 barrels in 2008 to 78,000 barrels in 2015. Young also criticized the previous government for failing to initiate sector development negotiations during their tenure. And finally, during the budget debate in the House of Representatives, Health Minister Mr. Terence Yalsing called for cooperation with the Public Health Service to combat TNT's high diabetes rates. He highlighted programs that screen pregnant women for diabetes to improve the health of both mothers and babies. The Yalsing also mentioned a study covering 2019 to 2023, which revealed that 1,776 limbs or toes were amputated in TNT during that period, with 91% of amputees having diabetes-related complications and 18% being smokers. And that concludes your news in 90 seconds.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union back to school loan promotion. Loans up to 15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment for self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure, bank statement, 12 to 18 months, other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108, or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loans@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's back to school loan promotion.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
All right, and welcome back, viewers. This morning we are being joined by our good friend, Dr. Hanif Benjamin, who is a CEO, and he's also a clinical therapist and a clinical traumatologist, as we speak, turn our attention to World Health Day 2023. Good morning and welcome to you. So wonderful to see you this morning, Mr. Benjamin.
Always a pleasure, Candice, always a pleasure. Not quite yet a doctor, but I do take your prayers on this wonderful World Mental Health Day 2023.
All right, so for this year, can you give us a little insight as to the focus for World Mental Health Day this year?
So every year there is a theme, and the theme for this year is Our Mind, Our Right. Mental health is a universal human right, and I think it is so well placed because mental health should be a human right. Mental health should not be something that people are struggling to achieve, where people are struggling to access, where people are struggling to live a healthier life.
And how has the things like COVID-19 pandemic affected the mental health of Trinidad and Tobago? What have you seen coming forth in your line of work recently?
Well, definitely COVID-19 has really pushed Trinidad and Tobago and people already living with mental health over the edge. And people who may have never been diagnosed are now finding themselves into diagnoses, or the general stress level of people living has definitely increased. We cannot bury our heads in the sand. As a matter of fact, COVID-19 ensured that we are not burying our head in the sand when it comes to mental health. And whether that is mental health in our school system, whether it is in the workplace, whether it is in our community, we are seeing constantly where the reverberation of stress and stressful life being lived every day, especially coming out of the pandemic. There are persons who are still reeling from the financial fallout, the emotional fallout, the psychological fallout, the traumatic fallout of COVID-19. And it just seems as if, for many of us, we are trying to move past this as opposed to recognizing that this is smack in our face and we cannot get away from it.
And When we listened to the Minister of Health yesterday, we heard that a lot of plans in regards to mental health and the government's drive to decentralize mental health and to sort of take it in a different direction than we've been doing in the past. And I want to know how much you have been involved as a clinical therapist. How much have you been involved in those plans to sort of change the way we treat with mental health, especially since it's becoming such a major problem here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, from a governmental level, I have had no involvement other than me, coming on the television or radio like this program to help people understand what is mental health, understand how it is, what it looks like, and also serious advocacy. I've been advocating for changes in the Mental Health Act and the Insurance Act and Health and Safety Act in terms of decentralizing for a long time. And therefore, I am very excited by this news. I was not able to listen yesterday, but from what you are saying, if that is in fact the case, I am extremely excited because decentralizing mental health in and of itself would remove a level of stigma that has plagued mental health treatment for some time. You must know even the Calypso, the Madman, and also St. Anne's, where we go in St. Anne's, have given our mental health institution a bad word. And therefore, when we think about mental illness, we immediately think about the madman on the street, or we think about St. Anne's. And therefore, if we decentralize, like I have been asking to, for example, while I know that there might be social workers and mental health practitioners in our health centers, they are not there primarily for walk-in. They are there for internal referral. And I have been advocating that a mental health unit be set up in all health care centers, so that when people come, nobody knows what you're coming there for, whether you're going to the doctor for your heart, your foot, or mental health. And that is one way of removing the stigma. The other way that I really would like for us to see is mental health literacy, right? We need to make people aware because people are afraid of what they don't know. And because what they don't know look bizarre, they tend to shy away from it because of shame and guilt. So if we increase the literacy when it comes to mental health as a government and non-governmental approach, we are in fact reducing the stigma. And secondly, if we make access by decentralizing, it also reduces the stigma. And once the stigma is reduced, more people are going to come forward for treatment, and therefore more people are going to live a healthier mental life.
And how would you evaluate the way that we have been treating with mental health recently, especially with everything that's been coming to light? Do you think that we are changing, that we really are changing the way that we treat it from a medical perspective, from a expert perspective?
We have a long way to go, but I must admit, over the last couple of years, we have made great stride in terms of mental health and mental health treatment. And I must give kudos to the government for trying and for others for trying as well. Because we're seeing where programs are being put in place, things are being put in place to help move mental health treatment along. But we are still a very far ways to go. If we really want to move mental health, let us start by reworking the Mental Health Act, that is Act 8, that does not subscribe to the 21st century mental health treatment. Our Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 5 have moved through many phases. Our ICD International Code have moved through many phases that we use for diagnosing mental health. But our Mental Health Act remains the same. If we change the legislation in relation to mental health, then we are definitely saying that mental health is important and we are taking the right steps to changing the way. When we change the legislation, it means that we can now change the legislation in relation to our OSH Act, so that mental health can form part of that arena. We can change what HSSE stands for. Right now, health and those committees are mainly physical health, but there is no physical health without mental health, and there is no mental health without physical health. And definitely, we need to change the Insurance Act because right now, the medical model is used. And for those insurances that actually gives a benefit for mental health, it is very minuscule. And so we need to change the laws so that these policies can change so that people can access. I am looking forward to today, for the day when in any employment setting, an employee could bring a sick leave and say depression, anxiety, stress, and is not looked upon as if they are crazy or is not pushed aside because they are a problem, but rather just like we treat the flu and heart attack and stroke in terms of sick leave, that people are able to bring those things. I am looking forward to a day when a person don't have to go through 1,000 hoops to get insurance coverage for mental health treatment as well.
And as we're speaking about those things, and as we're waiting to, in a sense, to get to that point where we can have a society that recognizes what we need to do for each other, whether it's in employment, etc., for when it comes to mental health. What are some of your recommendations, or what are some of the things that you see that's very practical that people in Tobago and Trinidad can do to, to deal with the stress that they are feeling, to deal with the mental problems that they may be facing?
Well, the first thing we need to do is recognize that mental health is real. Mental health is real. It is not a man being lazy or an employee don't want to work or the drop in productivities because they are grown. Mental health is real. Let us first acknowledge that. Once we acknowledge that, we are saying to people that it is okay for you to feel the way you feel. Because we may not see mental health as real, we are taking away how people feel, and we should never do that. We should allow people to feel how they feel, and we treat with that. The second thing that I think is going to be important is all people, all companies, all workers should know what is mental health and what it looks like. Too often in our work scenario, people who are living with mental health challenges are treated from a punitive perspective. Right? They are treated as if they are doing something wrong, when in fact the mental health challenges that they are dealing with is in fact causing the scenario. So we need to be educated. And that is why here at the Center for Human Development, we have this massive training coming up in November 6th, 7th, and 8th that is dealing with mental health in the workplace, because we want people to understand what it is, to understand what it's look like, how it manifests. We need to teach our teachers and people who work with young people what mental health look like, because people live with mental health suffering for far too long, and the suffering start to reverberate in different aspects of their life. So definitely we want to empower individuals to speak up. We want to enhance resiliency. We want to improve communication between employers and employees, between parents and children, between school and child. We want to create a supportive work environment, a supportive home environment. Mental health can be a burden on many persons, work or families, and we need to encourage them to keep fighting. We need to understand that access is important. So if we make it open to people so that they can access mental health without so many hurdles, then we are well on our way to treat with how our people are dealing with mental health challenges. And that is why, Candice, it is in fact a human right issue.
All right. Dr. Benjamin, I just want to thank you so much for being on with us. It was such a pleasure speaking with you this morning. And I just want to thank you for being on with us. Well, viewers, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Bad girl from Roxborough, Tobago, body fuego in your day clothes, I rate you. Grew up around good vibes and incense. Grew up in hard times that intense. Shut it as you're reaching at the dance. Use the topic as you're reaching at the dance. My girl, go and drop it as you're reaching at the dance. Making use of your talents when you balance back on the dance. Yes, yes. I know, baby. You want a man who take you serious. Not just beat and leave. You're fed up on the streets. Yes, yes, I know, baby. You want a man who take you serious.
"25 years of real good dashing food, delicacies, and enjoyment." Well, it come around again as we celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival. This year promises to entice your taste buds again on Sunday, October 15th at Bloody Bay from as early as 10 a.m. All are invited to the celebration filled with craft, games, but most importantly, blue food. This is a brunch-style celebration and will also see the likes of Super Blue, Nyla Blackman, Pretty, Gerard Balfour, Joe Archer, Keyshawn Jack, and Junior Calypso star, The Shay Saul, and more on Sunday, October 15th, 2023. Come celebrate 25 years of the Tobago Blue Food Festival.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
World Mental Health Day, but this week is also Fire Prevention Week. So we are being joined right now by Mr. Jude Rogers, who is a fire prevention officer in the Tobago Fire Service. So good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Rogers.
A pleasant good morning to all the wonderful listeners. And my dear, we're having a wonderful day today, I hope.
Certainly, and hopefully a fire-free day.
Definitely.
All right, so we're going to get into our conversation this morning. And as we go through this week, we've been talking quite a bit about just making sure that us in our homes, we know some of the things that we can do to make sure that we are safe from fires. And I want to start with some of the tips that we don't really think about in terms of, keeping our children safe and making sure that our children are not doing things to start fires.
Okay, definitely. So as we coined the particular phrase for this year's Fire Prevention Week, the international team says cooking safety begins with you. And that means fire prevention is everybody's business. So the focus this year is on fires that occur due to cooking. And when we think about children and we think about the elderly, we realize that we need to put something specific in place for children. Just recently in Trinidad, we would have had an incident where a child would have been burnt badly as a result of being involved in hot water being spilt on that child. That child eventually died as a result of blood clots. So what we've recognized is that the vulnerable in our society are our children as well as our elderly. And so think, therefore, of an elderly person who may be experiencing some sort of aging illness, let's say Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease. Sometimes we have to stop those persons from actually cooking or being involved in the kitchen because they pose a threat to their own selves. Similarly, children it should be a kids-free zone in your kitchen. Children of below a certain age should not be allowed to get to the stove so that they can actually pull stuff down upon themselves and they can then become burnt or they can even start a fire. So we need to recognize this as one of the hazards that occur within our society.
And how often do, some of our elderly and so on, how often are they involved in starting fires, whether it's because of their dementia or Alzheimer's or all of these conditions that they face?
Well, the statistics coming out of the fire service as we gathered data, we've recognized that for the year we've had 15 deaths due to fire throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And we've noticed that over 50% of those deaths are attributed to persons that are over the pensionable age. And that's a telling statistic because it tells us that our senior citizens are at risk. And whether they're responsible for starting the fires, inadvertently, it may be accidental in nature because a number of fires that occur are due to electrical issues. In fact, I would even dare say that the majority of the fires are accidental in nature, but the main proponent here is that an elderly person, a person who is bedridden or infirm, needs to have special requirements put in place for them to safeguard them against the event of a fire.
And when it comes to cooking as well, what are some of those tips that we can exercise to sort of make sure that we are really being safe when we are cooking? Because as you mentioned earlier, they had that incident where the child fell into a pot of lentil peas, and it's just it's sort of mind blowing how that even happened. But like, what are some of the things that we can do to prevent things like that?
Okay, so definitely some basic tips about the kitchen and being in and around the kitchen. You have lids that you have for your pots. We're asking members of the public, when you're cooking, keep the lid for the pot close by. Reason being, if there is a fire based on oil, you can easily eradicate that fire by covering the pot and smothering the fire by removing oxygen from the process. If you don't have the lid close by, you are not going to be able to respond quickly. Also, the handles of pots should always be turned inward towards the stove. Tip them or knock on them and flip the hot burning material onto your body because you can be scalded by burning or hot material that is on the fire. In addition to that, we're asking persons to pay attention to your gas tanks. Check for leaks. How do you check for leaks? Each LPG gas tank has a particular a pungent smell that allows you to know if gas is escaping. If you smell gas, please do not light your stove. Do not switch on the light bulb. Do not turn off or plug out any electronic equipment as they can be form an ignition source. What you want to do is to turn the gas tank off at the regulator, and you want to take that gas tank on outside and put it under running water. Ventilate the house by opening all windows and all doors, but definitely don't turn on any electronic item or turn them off. In addition to that, we're asking persons to pay attention to the holes that next to the regulator. Make sure that your holes are not in a rotted state or in a degraded state, and also look for dry rotting on the hose. I even tell persons that as you near 5 years of use, you need to look at your hose and you may even think about replacing the hose with a new one. You may keep the same regulator, but you want to change out the hose. It all depends on the amount of usage and how you housekeep. So one of the other points is that your pots and pans should be clean. Your stove top should be clean. One of the issues is when you allow grease and oil to accumulate on the top of the stove, these are accelerants that can propagate the fire. And so just having a clean space helps with eradicating the possibility of a fire occurring. All right? Again, keep your area pet-free zone. Do not allow pets to run wild or free in your kitchen, as well as children should know their place in the kitchen, and they should stay at least 3 feet or 1 meter away from cooking items, stove, microwaves, etc. And of course, always supervise your cooking periods. Set a time food will not get burnt and eventually cause a fire to start in your kitchen. So that's quite a lot of tips right there in that in a nutshell.
Certainly. And one of those tips that we probably don't think about in our homes is the need to have a fire extinguisher nearby. I mean, we see that in an office setting, in major buildings and so on. But tell us about the importance of us having fire extinguishers and not just one within our homes.
All right, so you very, very well. It seems that you had some training by the fire service because you're right on point with that. One of the major issues that we recognize is that, and I know you're going to play the video or bring up the video, water, if applied to a fire in the kitchen, is going to escalate to the point that you can have the water molecules, they're literally going to turn to steam and cause the oil to flare up and spread the fire even further. So definitely, when we're talking about kitchen and kitchen fires and cooking, you want to have a dry chemical fire extinguisher or a wet chemical extinguisher, which creates a barricade of bubbles over what's burning, causing the fire to be smothered. And as you can see from the video, 1 cup of water, just one, you don't even need to put a lot of water on a fire. And so the natural thing when a human being sees a fire is to run for water. But definitely in your kitchen, that is not going to be an option. So you
And tell
want
us
to
why.
purchase.
Tell us why that the
Right.
water is not the best thing.
Right. So when, as you're seeing from the video, water, when it interacts with the oil, of course, water is less dense than oil. It is going to go to the base and the oil floats on top, but it rapidly causes the water to turn to steam, and that lifts the oil out of the pot and splatters it up into the atmosphere. And that causes the fire to spread exponentially, causing disfiguring of whoever is in close proximity to that particular fire. So what you want with an extinguisher, the extinguisher does not cause splashing and it covers the top surface of the oil, eradicating the fire from that point of removal of the oxygen from the process. And that's how you want to extinguish a fire that has an oil base. So it's very important for us to understand that, because if we don't, we can cause great damage and harm to ourselves.
And in the event that you don't have a fire extinguisher nearby, what is there anything else that you could use to extinguish a fire on the stove?
All right, so I'm going to give you a old technology that we used in the fire service many years ago. One, if you cannot reach the gas tank to turn that regulator off, because that's the source of your fire. The source of the fire is literally the LPG tank that is there down below, but you may not be able to access that. So we have, in those type of situations, you want to smother such a fire. If you have a very thick blanket, you can wet that blanket and cover the entire pot. That will suppress the oxygen for a while. But ideally, the lid of the pot is the best. An iron lid covering that pot is going to close down on that area, causing the oxygen to be eradicated from the process, and you are going to be able to extinguish the fire. If the fire or the flames, however, have reached the ceiling, we're saying it's beyond what you can control, you need to evacuate.
And of course, call the fire services immediately.
That's right. And that
You
number
know,
for the fire service again is 990. No matter where you are in Trinidad and Tobago, 990, and we will respond to your call. I know my counterparts in the Tobago division, they have quite a bit going on for Fire Prevention Week. I know that they are going to be making visits to Crown Point tomorrow. Today, they're going to be in Patience Hill and Mount St. George, visiting the schools in those areas, conducting lectures and training with the children, because when we talk to children, we basically secure the future of the next generation. So I want to give kudos to my friends at the Scarborough Fire Station, and particularly the Fire Prevention Department. I want to, send a very good welcome to each and everyone and encourage them in all of their fire prevention activities that they will be having this week as we celebrate Fire Prevention Week. Cooking safety starts with you.
now, can you give me an idea about how like so many statistics for fires here in Tobago? I don't know if you have that disaggregated. I know you guys have the figures on a national level, but do you have it for Tobago?
No, for Tobago, I'm going to have to extract that, and of course, on another program, I'll come back and I will deal with Tobago specifically, and I will welcome that opportunity so we can unravel a little bit about the nature of fire in Tobago. And I'm hoping to get one of the members of the Tobago division to come on board with us to have that discussion, as well as they can explain some of the challenges that they face in their own division when it comes to responding to fires and also treating with the investigation, because that's another very important part. And I want to just let the members of the Tobago know that the key to fire prevention is to ensure that a fire never even occurs. And if we can educate members of the public to the point where we get them to understand that if you can prevent the fire altogether by changing the way we treat with hazards in our home, fire hazards, the way we treat with electricity, the way we deal with cooking, the way we deal with our LPG tanks, the way we deal with emergencies in the home, we can eliminate fires on a whole in Trinidad and Tobago. And one of the things that I brought out along with me, I just wanted to point this out to you. This is a smoke detector here. And without a smoke detector to warn you in an early manner, right? You will not be able to be alert in the dead of night when a fire occurs. So I'm just going to press the button on the test button here, and you will hear the sound, right? So the alarm would go off once that it detects a fire. Smoke gets into the chamber, and the smoke detector goes off. Now we're asking members of the public, you can purchase a smoke detector from your safety provider in Tobago. There are a number of them in Tobago. I know we know of the Revs. I know we know of Cole and Associates, a number of companies there, and they all partner with the fire service. And we must give kudos to these these agencies, these private entities that support the fire service in their fight against fire prevention in Trinidad and as well as Tobago. Now, this particular device that I have is a wireless smoke detector, and it's able to communicate with your phone. So together with your phone, you can receive a message which alerts you to the fire, and then you can call 990. So think about if you're not at home, but you get the alert on your phone, you're literally not a sitting duck. You're aware of what is going on, and you can call the fire service on 990 and ask them to attend to the fire, which may be taking place at your home.
All right, great. And then when it comes to even monitoring those fire the smoke detectors, sorry. What are there some things that we need to keep in mind, like whenever we're purchasing them? Is there certain things that we need to be looking for, and where are the best places to position them within our homes?
Well, that's an excellent question. So first and foremost, always purchase your smoke detectors from a reputable safety company. And again, I just alluded to two of them in Tobago. I know that of Revs, and I also know of Cole and Associates. But what you want to do, you would like to locate those smoke detectors in your bedrooms, mainly on the center of the ceiling. If you have a slant ceiling, you go to the highest point, because smoke travels upward very rapidly and gets up to the ceiling. So you want to locate not to side mount it, but mount it at the center of the room at the highest point of the ceiling. Also, you can place smoke detectors along the corridors just outside of your bedrooms and in your living room. You will not want to place a smoke detector in your kitchen, because obviously as you cook, the smoke detector will go off and it will become a nuisance. And basically what you want is for it to be in areas where smoke is not normally there. So when you hear the alarm, you know that there is definitely going to be a fire.
Great. And then even looking at when you're building your homes and so on, right? Is there any tips that you recommend as to how you should place your kitchen in relation to your entrances and stuff, even how you should position your stove in the event that there is a fire?
So interestingly enough, by design, and you're correct, by design, you can eliminate the hazard of escaping in the event of a fire. Now, many duplexes and many homes that are being built now, the entrance way to your property or the entrance way to your home is normally through the kitchen. That in itself poses a serious issue in terms of being able to escape, especially when there's only one exit to get out of the home. In those type of homes, the fire service recommends a sprinkler system specifically for the kitchen area, because that is your means of escape. in the event of a fire, it is the only pathway that you can get out of the building. Other than that, we recommend that you have a door or doorway or way apart from the kitchen as your means of.
And have you been working with landlords and so on, or even contractors as they're building homes to people to ensure that these things are considered when you're building homes?
So that's a very good question again. So the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, along with Town and Country, along with the small building codes that have been developed, your different corporations, even the Bureau of Standards, we have been working together. We've been having discussions about when a plan or a house plan comes to the corporation or comes to the Town and Country Division for approval. Even those multi-complexes, those multi-buildings where you have a lot of persons, gated communities, those plans actually need approval from the fire service, from the Tobago Fire Prevention Department. When those plans come to us, we would put on those plans our requirements, whether it be extinguishers, smoke detectors, sprinklers, emergency lights, and exit signs. So if you go to the mall in Tobago, if you go to a large hotel, you are going to see signs of the fire prevention department making their input into the safety of those buildings. So definitely we've been working along with not just landlords, but developers on a whole when it comes to making sure that we have fire protection systems built into your property.
And also, when it comes to bushfires and so on, we have a common thing here within our society where we like to burn our bush. You know, we clean the yard and you just make a pile, and we light a fire. But sometimes that can also lead to greater fires within our communities. So, what are some tips where that's concerned?
Definitely. All right, so where bushfires are concerned, I would remind members that from December 2020, we start of period, you are advised to seek a permit from the fire department so that you can burn your material. And when you seek that permit, they will give you the requirements as to how you should contain that fire within a particular zone. So if it's 1 acre of land, they will ask you to cut a fire trace around the property, cut the grass, cut the trees, keep them into specific clumps of a particular size, and you'll be allowed to burn it periodically over a specific period of time. You don't burn all at once, or you don't burn before you create a barricade between your property and the other property. Because many bushfires, and you would even imagine wildfires can occur, especially when persons driving by discard of burning material. For instance, the cigarette butts, when discarded, can pose a great danger in terms of increasing the potential for bushfires. And I just want you to understand the beauty of the flora and fauna that is in Tobago. We don't want our main ridge, our areas of sensitivity to be our watersheds, the areas that provide water for the island, to be inundated by bushfires. So we are asking member public, please bear this in mind, especially as we're experiencing hot spells, which are progressing through the rainy season, because we've had record temperatures in Trinidad and Tobago like never seen before. And not only in Trinidad, but across the globe. Across the globe, we are having serious hot spells. So we must bear in mind that bushfire is a serious issue, and we can be the change, we can make a difference. So if you see somebody with a cigarette, ask them to discard of it properly and not just throw it out the bushfire progress.
And coming back to things that you can do in your homes and so on, I also want to touch, as you mentioned, like cigarettes and things like that. Also touch on things like incense and candles. Some of the things that we like to burn. I mean, it might be good for our mental health, help us to relax and so on. But those things can also contribute to fires. What are the statistics that you have that shows that the way how candles might have contributed to some of those fires throughout the country?
Well, it's very difficult to pinpoint that unless we get eyewitness reports or unless we would have had camera footage to suggest. But there's an interesting thing that you brought up. that yes, we have different types of items which are lit. We know the Diwali period is coming up in Trinidad. That's a big time for us in Trinidad. And we advise persons that when you are lighting stuff within your house, candles, incense, you are smoking, which we advise that you don't do in bed or don't do on your couch. Because if you fall asleep with that cigarette and it is not properly disposed of, that fire is going to smolder over time, and with the oxygen, you are going to have a serious blaze occurring, and persons have died as a result of that. So the key thing here is, if you have a candle, place it in a metal or ceramic holder, so that when the candle goes down and burns its remnant, that fire is not going to engage a wooden surface, plastic, or anything that can cause the fire to continue. So I always remember candle use, incense use, please use metal containers, please use ceramic or non-combustible material to house those. So these are some of the advice that you will get from the fire service.
All right, and then do you know how long we should be burning candles before it might be bad, or is there any recommendations for that concern?
So definitely, again, normally the main time when people would use a candle is if there's electricity has gone.
Yes.
If electricity is cut for some reason, there may be a power outage, you use your candles, you use different devices. But listen, the key here is ensuring that if you are about to go to sleep, if you are about to get rest, you do not leave those candles. I can give you one instance here in Trinidad where a young mother came home and the electricity had gone. And what she did, she had lit the candle and placed top of the wall, which was a plastic top washing machine. She did not place it in a canister or something that was non-combustible. Candle burned all the way down to the plastic. The plastic melted, fell onto the curtain, and then ignited the entire room. All that mother could have done was escape with her child and get out of the home. And the entire room, the entire apartment was destroyed by fire. So we don't want to see these things happen or return. So we want to encourage members of the public. And in terms of fires within households, our statistics point to the fact that across the nation, we're having approximately 1.8 to 2 fires per day. That amounts to over 600 fires on an annual basis. I will get the statistics for Tobago to see what contribution the Tobago division has. But that's a statistic that tells me that we have an issue in Trinidad. And with that, the advent of 20 deaths by fires. For Trinidad, we've already reached the staggering figure of 15 deaths by fires, half of which are elderly folks and children being involved in those fires as well. And to me, one death is too much in 2023. So we want to eliminate death by fires and eliminate fires in our households across the board in Trinidad, as well as the lovely Isle of Tobago.
Is this the most amount of deaths that we've seen for fire for a year? What can you share us with that?
No, in terms of the most deaths, we're still not up to the most deaths, and we really don't want to go back to those times what we call pre-pandemic. So we have figures that we're looking at post-pandemic, and we're telling you the figures are ramping back up to pre-pandemic figures. So we're talking about before 2020, we would have had figures sometimes would be between 20 to 25 deaths. So we're heading up to 20, and we really would not like to see us change. Hence the reason why the Fire Prevention Department during Fire Prevention Week, we are out there talking with citizens. We're going to see fire officers from Tobago visiting your region, like I said for them in Crown Point tomorrow. They're going to be there because they want to speak to the persons who are involved in the smaller kitchens, our roadside vendors, and we can give them healthy tips. I don't want the vendors to feel as though the fire service is coming down on you, but they're there to aid you and encouraging you in the best practices when it comes to fire safety. If they tell you that your fire extinguisher needs to be serviced, you take your fire extinguisher to a reputable safety company, like I've mentioned before, have it repaired in service so you could protect your stall, your business, your kitchen. A lot of persons are cooking in store bay along the stretch there, and it's wonderful food and it's good for tourism, but we also need to be safe and keep our citizenry and our guests to our island very safe.
And before you go, I just want to touch a little bit on just, making sure that the electricals in our home are in good order. And I don't know if you can share with us any statistics that you may have that, how much electrical problems might have contributed to fires in Trinidad and Tobago.
And that's an interesting question that you ask. And electricity seems to be one of the number one causes of fires, but not just electricity in itself, but when we have faults in our systems. And I want to let the nation know that we need to take some level of responsibility for that. And I'll tell you how. In your home is ready or for electricity. You have to have a fire or an electrical inspectorate certificate, which your wireman or your licensed electrician procures for you by having a test conducted in your home before you can be connected to TNTech. But that certificate must be valid and must be renewed, meaning you must do a periodical check every 5 years. So for householders, if you haven't brought in your electrician to do a physical check of your wiring to determine that your circuits and your breakers are functioning properly, you are doing yourself a disservice. Not only that, you're putting yourself at risk because the wiring in your home can have breakdown over time. They can have resistance, which causes heat, and that can cause a fire. For businesses, you have 3 years. Your time is even less. Within 3 years, you must renew your certification. That gives you some level of assurance that your business, your home, has been tested by the electrical inspectorate and that your certification gives you a clean bill of health when it comes to electricity. But in addition to that, your practices in how you use electricity can also either make it difficult for that to hold through. So this is what you want to do. You want to ensure that you're not multi-tapping, placing 6, 7, 8 items plugged into one circuit by putting on a surge protector and overloading your circuits. So this is one of the key areas that we are noticing electricity has been involved in fires because of the overload of circuits by multi-tapping. Also, electronic items that are faulty, you need to bring them out of service, have them repaired, or remove them from use completely. If the fan is not working properly, the motor seizing up, do not leave that item plugged in. That motor will seize, it will heat up, and whatever combustible material is in close proximity, it will ignite, and you will then have an ensuing fire. Similarly with heaters, similarly with microwave, and all these electronic items that we have in our home. Pay attention to fire prevention, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, cooking safety starts with you as we progress through Fire Prevention Week 2023.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rogers, for being on with us. I mean, we could sort of extend it, things quite a bit. But we're going to go for a break and we'll be back. But I want to thank you for joining us. So, viewers, we've got a lot more coming up for you after this.
The energy fill the skies. I say, thanks for favor. So wake up and hear me neighbor.
Tobago Carnival Caribbean Vibes presents Tequila Sunset. Tequila Sunset, October 27th. Scarborough Esplanade from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's a cooler fete like no other. Bring your squad and we'll take care of the vibe with your top TNT and New York DJs, surprise guest artists. Tequila Sunset will be an epic event you will never forget. Early bird tickets are 199 TT or 30 US. Get your tickets online on islandetickets.com or frontlineticketing.com. For more info, call 475-6218 or 754-7344. And New York, 917-561-9742. All drinks must be in plastic bottles and no ice or chaser allowed. Tequila Sunset, October 27th, Scarborough Esplanade.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawn.
Good morning, Tobago on Tobago updates. Because well, it's a lot of World Days recently. We have World Food Day coming up in just about a week's time, and part of the activities leading up to that is a farmers market, which is on today at Shore Park. So to tell us a little bit about that, we are being joined by the Secretary of Food Production, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Ms. Natisha Charles Pantic. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, everyone. So I'm on the move, but I'm here to remind you of the Farmers Green Market at the Tobago Shore Park Food Hub, right next to the Orange Hill gas station. Make sure to go get your green fig, your cassava, and all those fruits and vegetables that you love in order to make whatever you need to make at home. Yeah, so I'm here to remind you to support our local farmers, eat local, stay healthy.
All right. So tell me about just a little bit about why you all chose to do a farmers market, and about how does this fit into the whole World Food Day celebrations.
Okay, so usually every year we decided that we would showcase what farmers could do across the island, and that is the purpose of the green market. Also to promote healthy eating and to support everybody financially, as you know how the economy could be hard and how marketing could be difficult. So it's a division's effort towards supporting the farmers, right? And leading up to World Food Day, I think it's appropriate. The technical officers, they did an excellent job in organizing the green market in Roxborough last week, and now we have the green market at the Shore Park Food Hub this morning. So I want you to go out and support the farmers, eat local, and stay healthy.
All right. So, and again, how late would it be open today? What's the times?
We start at 10 a.m. and finish at 6 p.m.
Okay. And it's is it all going to be Tobago's farmers, or is it, are there farmers from Trinidad going to be involved?
No, only Tobago farmers would be at the Shore Park Food Hub, similar to what in Roxborough. So it will be catered for people in the east, and now we're catering for persons central. Yeah?
All right, great. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Tisha Charles Pandey, for being on with us and for just tell us about the farmers market, and hopefully all of Tobago can get their way to the food hub to get some fresh food grown by our Tobago farmers.
Excellent. And thank you so much for having me stop by, right? So Tobago farmers. Just remember, you can't go wrong. We have unbeatable prices there, and make sure to walk with your shopping bag, recycle them, yeah. So don't go buy plastics out there. Use what you have home. Go to the farmers market and support the farmers.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Tisha Charles Pandey, for being on with us. And viewers, well, that's how we're going to have to wrap this morning's show. It was a pleasure being with you this morning, and I hope you have a safe and wonderful day. And we'll see you again tomorrow.
Tobago updates.